What's going on, everybody? Will Mitchell here. We've got a great video for you today. Feeling like a newscaster out here. I got my notes because we got a new webinar for you guys. So it's now June 2021. First, we'll start with the general info. A lot of you probably already know this. You might not if you're new to researching Belize from an investment standpoint, from a relocation standpoint. So we're going to really break everything down. I want to talk about what's happening with the tourism industry recovery with COVID. What's happening in the real estate industry? How is our real estate industry correlated to the US industry? What are the best cash flow investments, and all the general Belize info you want to know, and which markets are best within Belize. So we got a ton of great information here, guys. For those of you who don't know me, it's Will Mitchell here, regional owner for Remax Belize. I've been in Belize for quite some time now. I've been in the real estate industry down here for quite some time, and I'm pretty happy to help you guys and get any information that I can your way. So organize my notes again. So just to kick things off, guys, let's talk about Belize in general. So for those of you who don't know, a lot of the big draws of Belize is that it's in close proximity to the US, it's an English-speaking country, and there's a lot of benefits from that. Low population density, obviously the climate. I'm sitting in Mahogany Bay right now looking at beautiful flowers and palm trees, the nice weather, the reef, 187-mile long barrier reef, which is the second largest barrier reef in the world. We have jungle, we have mountains. Belize has it all. So from a real estate standpoint, the real benefit and the real foundation, when you're looking at making a move, making a purchase, the foundation of what you're looking to do is property rights. So because we're English speaking, we have a British common law, British parliamentary democracy legal system, which leads to very strong ownership rights for foreigners. So if you're looking to relocate to Belize as a foreigner, you actually have the same ownership rights as a domestic local Belizean. There's no difference there. So there's a big advantage when you contrast that to other countries in the region which have Napoleonic civil law. That's generally Spanish-speaking countries. That's a two-tier ownership structure where foreigners and locals do not have the same ownership rights. So it's a major benefit to Belize, and it really is the foundation of the whole real estate market, and one of the primary reasons why a lot of people come down here from a real estate investment standpoint. So the next big factor, guys, is proximity to the United States, proximity to Canada. A lot of people relocating down here and investing in the market are from the US or Canada. And just to put it into perspective, coming from Miami, the flight's about an hour and a half direct. Houston, about 2 hours. We have direct flights from numerous areas around the US. Atlanta, Seattle just introduced new flights with Alaska Air. LA, they just added new flights with Alaska Air. New York, Denver has direct flights. In Canada, Toronto has direct flights, seasonal direct flights from Calgary, and constantly new flights are being added in to get down to Belize. Belize has done some pretty savvy decision making. They've dedicated about 46% of the land to National Park and Marine Reserve, which has a huge impact for a couple reasons. One, it protects the reason why we love Belize, one of the main reasons, which is being able to go snorkel in the reef, being able to go up to the mountains and look at all the beautiful birds, look at all the beautiful natural wildlife. That's all protected, which is one of the key factors. So the other benefit of that is it puts a limit on the supply of developable and available real estate in the market. So as demand increases, it's pretty simple economics. Demand increases, there's a restraint on supply. That's where we see appreciation in the real estate market. So it has an external benefit for any real estate investors as well. Belize is really protective of the environment. There's no offshore oil drilling. They like to make sure that they're being great custodians of the land, which I love to see. And it really, no commercial fishing industry. The fishermen here will go out and fish, bring it to the restaurant, but they're not exporting fish in mass amounts. So it's an extremely healthy ecosystem, whether you're looking at the ocean or the land, which is amazing to see. So guys, I want to talk to you a bit about COVID-19. Obviously, that's impacted the entire world and how it's been impacted in Belize specifically, how everything's recovering. Obviously, we're kind of coming out a little bit. You can see the light on this thing. Most people are getting vaccinated, which is great to see, or they're just already had COVID, or in any case, it seems like we're on the tail end of this thing. But it had a major impact in Belize throughout the period of 2020 when really there was no travel. I mean, the tourism industry is a big factor within Belize. It's a major driver in the economy, and obviously when that shut down, Belize did take an impact. So it was great to see that when the airport reopened and visitors started re-entering Belize, the recovery happening so quick. There's a lot of pent-up demand in the US, a lot of people who after this, you know, their minds were really opened up. Probably you guys watching this right now have experienced this where, you know, you've been grinding at a job, you've been going into work, and now you have the option to work remote. And that's a major factor in Belize. The government has implemented some great policies where they're now allowing people to extend a tourist visa out. When you do enter the country, guys, when they stamp your passport, they issue you a 30-day tourist visa. That's when you're just coming in regularly. You can extend that in perpetuity as many months as you like. There's a fee of $200. You go to the immigration office, you show them your passport, you tell them you want to stay 30 more days. Now, because of this new policy, you can do multiple months at a time. They'll ask you, why do you want to stay? You can tell them any number of reasons, like I love the beaches, or whatever you want to say, whatever the reason is, and they will then, after you've paid the fee, issue you an extension on that visa. So that's one way to be in Belize, and it's a fantastic way, and it's great to see the government implementing policies around COVID-19 where you can now stay longer with a work permit. If you actually want to get permanent residency, get a work permit, you do have to be here for a certain amount of time before you can make an application for that. For permanent residency, you have to be here for a year full-time without exiting for more than 14 days. And if you want to apply for citizenship, the first step is to get residency. Then after you get that residency, 5 years later, you can apply for your citizenship. So there's a process to do everything down here, but if you want to just come and stay, you can do it on your tourist visa for as long as you like. There is also a temporary investment residency program, which is active right now, where if you invest above $250,000, you can make an application for that. And we have numerous contacts that can help you guys with that. So there's a lot of great options there, but what I really want to drill home on is the fact that the government is responding to COVID-19, the current situation in the world, and implementing policies that make great sense to incentivize people to come down to Belize and spend more time down here. So a lot of people right now, they're reevaluating their lifestyle, and we're going to talk about the real estate market here, what happened from 2019 to 2020 to 2021. We have the data from one of the largest closing companies in Belize, Capital Corporate Services. I can't disclose the specific number of closings, but what I can disclose are the percentage increases year over year. So many of you intuitively would have thought that from 2019 to 2020, there would have been a decrease in the number of closings for one of the largest closing companies in Belize. Obviously, the economy's in gridlock, things aren't really moving. Amazingly enough, when we got the data, it was actually the exact opposite of that. So from 2019 to 2020, there was a 39% increase in transaction volume. Now, what's even more interesting is going from 2020 to 21, after that increase from 2019, year to date right now, we're at mid-June, and there's already been a 28% increase on the total amount of closings for 2020. So right now it's on pace to almost do a 50% increase in transaction volume from 2020 to 2021. So it's crazy to see the market right now, and it is very counterintuitive. And we've talked about this in some of our past webinars. Generally, when we see a recession or a downturn, like for example in the 2008-2009 financial crisis, because we have the REMAX region, we get access to all of the data for transaction volume, closings, everything. So we'll refer to that data quite a bit, but there was actually the same situation happening in 2008-2009 during the global financial crisis where the transaction volume increased. Same thing is happening right now. So why is that? It's counterintuitive. Well, during those times, what we tend to see is an exodus of capital from the United States, from Canada, from Europe, and those investors are looking for new markets where they can diversify away from their current holdings and find asset classes that might not be affected in the same way of what people are currently invested in. So Belize is a large recipient of those people when we do enter those downturn times. The other thing that's really important to note about Belize, and we have talked about financing your real estate in the past. If you haven't seen those videos, we can share some of the links in the description here, but I'll give you a brief synopsis. So traditional bank financing is very hard to come by. Any of the domestic banks in Belize will only lend to locals. The international banks will lend to foreigners, but the terms are very unfavorable. So generally it's about 50% LTV, and they'll have about 11% interest rate, and they will have prepayment penalties for the first few years there. So it's not a loan that many people want to engage with. So generally, when we're helping our clients, we're looking at deals that have seller financing. We're helping clients, get investors together to syndicate for a property, or really looking at creative ways to secure properties in the market. Now, the reason I tell you this and why it's relevant to what we were discussing before is because properties in the market are not highly leveraged like you would see in the US or in Canada. Because the properties aren't highly leveraged, when we do see a downturn, our real estate market is not affected in the same way because there's just not a lot of people that are getting foreclosed on, that are losing their homes, that are losing their property, because generally they're holding almost all the equity of that home or property. So it's a very secure asset class from that standpoint. We don't tend to see these major dips when we get into these periods. We tend to be pretty steady Eddie, conservative, and just steadily moving upwards as time progresses, regardless of whether we're in a downturn or in upturn. So within Belize, we like to talk about where to go. What are the best locations for you? And that really depends. You might be watching this webinar saying, I want to get a property for personal use. I want to relocate to Belize. You might be watching this saying you want to make a financial investment and you want to know where the best return on investment is going to be. So there could be a different answer for whatever your scenario is. We got amazing areas all around Belize. The Corozal district up by the Mexico border. We were just there. You saw our video. It's a really beautiful area. Out in the west in San Ignacio and in the Caye district. Love going over there for visits. Down in the southern end, Stand Creek, going to Placencia, going to Hopkins, going down to Toledo and going to Punta Gorda, or coming to the Keys where I'm sitting right now, Ambergris, Caye, and all the beautiful little islands we have out here. So there's a lot of different areas you can look. I mean, obviously for me, I live in Ambergris Caye. There's numerous reasons why, but the primary reason outside of the lifestyle for me is the investment aspect. When people are looking at making an investment in a foreign market, you have to look at occupancy rates and average daily room rates, especially if it's a cash flow real estate investment. Where are the people going? So we use the 2019 Belize Tourism Board data to get you guys some statistics on this, because 2020, the data really wasn't there. And in 2019, what the BTB, it's the government body, the Belize Tourism Board that collects all the data, found was that 39% of Americans coming to Belize were going to Ambergris Caye. That almost doubled the next closest location, which was Caye at about 22%. Beyond that, if you look at the average daily room rate in Ambergris Caye, it's the highest in Belize by a pretty substantial amount, at about 500 Belize to 400 Belize a night, which averages, you just divide it by 2. The Belize currency is pegged 2 to 1 to the US. So that would be about 250 to 200 in that range a night is our average. So that's taking a blanket for the whole island. So when you're looking at an investment for cash flow in this market, you really need to look at Ambergris Caye. Now, with that being said, if it's a lifestyle decision, then you might say, you know what, I might want to go check out, Punta Gorda or look at San Ignacio and see if that makes sense for me. And there's nothing wrong with that. And again, it really depends on what you're looking to do. So when you do email myself or my team and you have questions, generally the first thing we'll ask is, what's your objective? Because we can't help you find something that's suitable to your goal without knowing what your goal is. So, but at the end of the day, from an investment standpoint, a lot of people right now are looking at Ambergris Caye simply for those reasons. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the specific overnight arrival data. Got my newscaster notes here. So again, this is Belize Tourism Board data, and there's a couple interesting things I want to point out here. So if you look at this graph, which our amazing video team is going to put up on the screen here, in 2020, obviously visitors flatlined at 0 because the airport was closed and no one was coming into the country, and that was standard pretty much worldwide. What's interesting is looking at the graph for 2021 and seeing the recovery. Now it looks right now, according to the April data, that we are about half of where we were last year, and we're recovering at a very strong pace. But the really key thing to note here is that last year, or in 2019, approximately 66% of the tourism coming to Belize were American travelers. The issue right now is that European and Canadian travelers have a lot of problems either leaving their country or getting back. So that has been completely depleted. Right now in 2021, approximately 91% of the tourism is Americans. So when that whole area of Canada and Europe is reopened up and people are comfortable to start coming back to Belize without having to worry about a 2-week quarantine, we're going to see a major uptick immediately there. So it's really important to factor that in. But the recovery data is great to see. We're in Mahogany Bay right now. Next week, Mahogany Bay is 100% occupied. Moving forward, a lot of the hotels are seeing extremely strong recovery. So it's great to see. We've talked in our videos before a lot about what the best investment class to invest in is. Right now, we've really drilled down on larger homes or monthly rentals simply because there's not a lot of inventory. If you're looking to come down to Belize and get a monthly rental in Ambergris Caye, they're really not there. We have some more specific videos on that and on going with a larger home. It's somewhat counterintuitive when you consider the fact that pretty much everyone that comes into Ambergris Caye, because it's an island, there's no more land being made, it is what it is. People come in, they get their land, they pay a premium for it, and then they want to develop the highest density. So right now, approximately 82% of the rental inventory is studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom. So everybody's came into the market and taken that approach. That's why we're recommending to a lot of our clients that are purchasing property from an investment standpoint to go for a larger home, get a pool, go heavier on the amenities, and you're going to target an area of the market that really isn't that competitive right now. Or the monthly rentals, where a lot of people have not put monthly rentals on the market. The next thing I want to talk about, guys, is the US economy. I want to talk about what's going on in the US, because generally whatever happens there trickles down to the rest of the world, and a lot of our viewers do come from the US, so it's pretty important for us to talk about what's going on back home so you can properly assess what the course of action is, or best course of action is. A lot of people right now are concerned about inflation, they're concerned about hyperinflation, and at this point, according to some of the latest data, there is a valid reason for the concern. So I have some price indexes here, some comparisons from prices of some key items in 2020 versus 2021, and it's really astounding to see the differences. So I'm gonna go through these with you guys right now. So in 2020, 1,000 feet of lumber board was $304. In 2021, it's $1,500. In 2020, 1 gallon of gas was $1.95. In 2021, it's $3.05. In 2020, 1 ton of wheat was $183. In 2021, $253. 1 ton of coal, $39. 2021, $80. 1 bushel of corn, $3.43. 1 bushel of corn now, $6.86. So inflation's not a theory at this point. This is something that's happening right now. The prices of goods are going up, more money's being printed and added into the economy every day, and that's just the reality of where we are. So we have a lot of people looking to hedge against inflation. Now, real estate is a fantastic hedge against inflation down here. You're not highly leveraged, you can hold the asset, clear title, there's extremely low carrying costs, so there's no estate tax, no capital gains tax, property taxes are extremely low. If you look at a vacant lot in the Secret Beach area, on average it's about $75 per year. So very low carrying costs, and it really is an investment where you can just park your money and watch exactly what happens with the US dollar and exactly what happens with the global economy and not have any concerns and hedge against whatever's going to happen there. So it's a pretty interesting time right now, guys, and I do recommend at least analyze what's going on. At least look at your current holdings, look at your current investments. If you're holding your money in cash, then you definitely want to take a look at what you're doing, because there's numerous things you could be doing that are better than that. But really drill down right now, because I think this is an important time in history, an important time for a lot of people, and the decisions you make over the next couple of years are going to have an impact on you for the rest of your life. So I mean, a lot of the stuff going on right now, it's a very interesting time. I think there's more opportunity in the world than there ever was. So this isn't kind of a doom and gloom type of thing. I think right now there's more opportunity in the world than we've ever seen before. You can do so many things. It's such a great time to take risks and to, really live your life and get out there and do things differently than you did before. And a lot of people are taking action on it. I commend them. Belize is an amazing place to do it. Every day down here, it's just such a pleasure to be in Belize. The nicest people, the most beautiful environment, and I just couldn't do it any other way. So guys, that's kind of an up-to-date scope of information. If you guys are looking to make a real estate investment, if you have any questions about Belize, shoot us an email and we're happy to chat about your situation, your circumstances, and what you want to do. We have an amazing team down here, whether you're speaking with Dustin, Chris, Mike, Lalo, Trevor, Divya, Dixie, the whole crew down here. They're amazing. They do such great work. And then the whole RE/MAX team. I mean, our RE/MAX operations down here extend to the very northern end all the way to the very southern end with 10 offices, 65 agents countrywide. And if you're looking at another area, I'm happy to get you set up with one of the brokers or agents in those areas, guys. So as always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, shoot me an email, and we can't wait to see you guys down here. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of amazing content coming. And also check out our book on Amazon, The Investor's Guide to Belize Real Estate. In it, we detail all the things you want to know if you're looking to make an investment in the Belize market. We had experts such as lawyers, bankers, architects, builders, all get involved in the making of this book. It's available on Amazon and Kindle. Aside from that, can't wait to see you guys down here. And don't forget to say hi to Chewy.